Hey, bee rising in the backyard secret garden. Today we're going to be harvesting the first spaghetti squash and butternut squash because some of them are already ready and mature. So we're going to need some good pruners and let's get started. Here is the huge patch of spaghetti squash and butternut squash, and then the 54 tomato plants in the background. So let's go check them out. All right, you guys, here I am in the spaghetti squash, butternut squash land. And a couple indications for how you know when your butternut squash or spaghetti squash is ready is first based on the color. You're looking for that yellow tan color. Then I like to use the fingernail test, which is you take your fingernail and you press it into the skin of the squash, and it shouldn't leave a dent. It should have a real thick skin. You can also knock on it. It's an indication to sound quite hollow. Also, when I was planting the seeds for these squashes, I looked at the package and it does give a timeline of when it's approximately supposed to be mature. So for these ones, it's between 75 to 100 days. Right now, we're actually right around that mark. You can also look at the stem and the leaves. If the stem is turning brown or the leaves are starting to turn brown, that's a good indication. However, the ones I'm picking today are still a little bit green, but they are quite large, so I want to harvest them before the pests get to them. So it's really just using your common sense and intuition to also get it before the bugs do. Because I wouldn't want the bugs to get to these and then it spoils them. All right, so when cutting the stem, you want to leave about 2 to 3 inches. Give it a good cut. And there we go, we have our first huge, oh man, this thing is heavy. Our first huge squash here. Look at that. Zoom out. That's beautiful. You literally have to do yoga in here to get to the squashes, so you don't step on any of the vines. Okay, you guys see this here? There's another big one right here, and there's a little guy here that's still growing. So by cutting this one, we're gonna allow this one to grow more. We're gonna direct more energy into it. So we're gonna also pull this guy, and he's quite large. Here's another big one. Look at that. So don't want them too big. I could have left this guy on a bit more, but I think we'll call it good. Here's another perfect example. This one's still green, so it's not quite mature, this spaghetti squash. And this one here, we're gonna cut because it's quite big. Okay, so what we have here is a butternut squash. And as you can see, the stem is still pretty green and the leaves are pretty green. So we're gonna leave this guy to get a bit bigger. These guys are growing on the trellis here. Looking beautiful. Let's check out our harvest. This is just for today. There's still a lot more flowers and they all get pollinated at different times, so we're not going to be harvesting all the squashes at the same time. But we got a total of, oh, this is heavy, 5 huge squashes, you guys. Like, look at the size of some of these. Those are massive. Okay. So let's talk about the storage for these. What's gonna do now is after harvesting them, it's important to let them cure for 10 to 14 days in a warm place like the garage or a porch where it gets to be about 25, 28 degrees Celsius. For my Americans, it's about, I believe, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And then after 10 to 14 days, you'll want to store it in a cool place like a cellar or a cool part of the basement so that it can last you for the winter. And that's also why it's important to keep a long stem, because that's going to help keep the fruit, the squashes, lasting longer as well. So pretty good harvest today. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more harvesting and health videos. And as always, be getting in some whole, healthy, fresh food, be getting in some nature. And when you do that, we'll all be rising. This sunflower is getting close to 9 feet tall. And check out these canna lilies.